Let's talk about pursuing what you want to pursue. Specifically, let's talk about the reasons why you train. So, I train for various reasons, and I've trained for various reasons throughout my life. But what keeps me engaged and what keeps me training is the pursuit of physical skill and physical ability. So, it's something that I think doesn't get talked about enough when we talk about fitness as adults. So, adults, we are constantly bombarded with concepts of fitness that are focused on physical attributes. So, the physical attributes could be speed, strength, flexibility, but also looks, right? So, having a tighter stomach, a perkier butt, slimming down, bulking up, physical attributes, right? So I feel like when we turn adults, after we are out of school, we no longer have access to a ton of opportunities to pursue a physical skill. So we have physical education in school. I know everybody hates gym, but at the same time, that's where I learned to throw a football. That's where I learned to play volleyball. Like, it taught me skills that I can now use, and I can go and play volleyball with somebody because I learned it in gym class. I mean, it was an important part of my physical development. Um, I was probably the most enthusiastic person in my gym class at the time, and now, like, in retrospect, I know it's because I ended up pursuing kinesiology as a as my kind of life's purpose. But anyway, um, as kids, we are given opportunities. Even if we don't play a sport, we can go. I mean, we're at least doing gym and, like, again, focus on learning skills rather than developing our fitness in terms of strength, flexibility, mobility, or losing weight or whatever it is. And then we, of course, have a ton of opportunities for pursuing sports and or other activities like dance, right? So we have kind of up until we're 18, we have so many opportunities because it's kind of like, well, let's develop the kids, let's show them all these different movement avenues, see what they like, see what they're good at. Maybe they'll become a professional, right? So it's kind of like you have all of these hopes and dreams at this young age, that you might become a professional basketball player. You're on a basketball team. You might go play college ball, and then you're going to go NBA. Like, you have still that option, right? So it's in your mind. Um, at the same time, when it seems like if you hit 18 and you didn't pursue the sport of choice in college, like, your career is over, you're not going to be a professional. What is left for you? What do you have left now to stay fit and to continue your physical development? Well, it's going to the gym. The answer is, if you have not turned into a professional player or dancer or whatever, what are your options to stay fit? You're going to go to the gym, and you're going to go to the gym and you're going to lift weights. You're going to, do cardio. You're going to take a fitness class. You might go for a run. All of those are excellent because you need that, right? Like, you need those fitness attributes for your longevity. You don't want to be kind of losing all of your physical attributes as you age. So you kind of go to the gym. It's interesting for a while, but then you lose probably that excitement because it's always like, for the rest of your life, you're going to continue lifting weights and pursuing, bicep size, or kind of like making sure you stay slim and fit into your jeans, which is like totally one of my goals because I have a ton of jeans I want to fit into. But it's also like not the reason for me to keep going. It's really hard, I think, when we are cut off around the age of 18 from kind of this organized activity, options, opportunities. And then what? We are left to figure out how to continue our own physical development. We end up in a gym, and then we end up possibly quitting or getting injured or something that prevents us from continuing because, well, it's not that fun anymore. And no one's telling us kind of what to do. And where's the goal? What is the goal anymore, right? So the goal could be maybe a bodybuilding competition, right? Maybe something like that. Maybe a powerlifting competition. Like, that could be a goal from pursuing strength training. I could see that, and we come up with that. You can, train for a triathlon or a marathon or a 5K run. We adults still have some options, but they're all very fitness based. physical attribute based. And I'm here to talk about training for skill, training for physical development and skill acquisition. That is what has kept me going, because when I was in track and field as a kid, thinking, yes, I want to be a professional. I mean, I want to go to the Olympics for track and field, of course. Who doesn't? Like, wasn't in the cards for me. I mean, that was not even close, right? And I kept holding on because I put in so much emotion and not just physical, but like emotional energy into track and field, that when I went to college, I found a club team and I trained with the club team. And then I coached high school and middle school in hurdles. I hung on as much as I could. But the mindset was, I'm still going to be a professional runner or like an Olympian. Like, it wasn't happening. And so, like, the mind shift had to happen for me to realize that it's about learning skills. It's about improving based on your own baseline, your own foundation, continuing to improve throughout your life. And it doesn't have to be married to the idea of professional sports or professional dance. And so we adults still have opportunities to learn skill. It's no longer forced upon us, but it's still a good idea. Obviously, developing yourself physically is just one facet of your whole being. So in my worldview, your being consists of your physical self, your emotional self, your spiritual self, and your intellectual self. So developing all aspects of yourself with the capital S is really important to me. So I think it's really important to have opportunities to develop yourself physically. At the same time, physical development ties into all of the other facets of your being, especially when you have things like skill acquisition tied to it, because you're developing yourself intellectually. You're developing yourself emotionally when you're trying something new and failing and trying and then succeeding. It's very actually an emotional process, and also a spiritual process, especially if you're part of a community and you have, you develop new relationships even from this, and a new worldview and a new approach to life. So that's something that athletics and sports and dance all bring to the table. That's where like skill-based activities are incredibly valuable for whole self development. And it's sad that adults don't have those options as much as kids do. I mean, kids, I think it's a must, but then it's just like this hard cutoff when kids are done with whatever they were pursuing in school, and then they go into adulthood and they have desk jobs. And then it's like, well, yeah, I used to be a really good runner back in the day, or yeah, I used to dance, and took it up to a certain point, but I couldn't be a professional, so I quit. I never did it again, or et cetera, right? So it's this is my life's goal here, is to pursue what I want to pursue always. So I started ballet at 22 because it wasn't an option for me when I was younger. I've always wanted to do it. I've always been enamored by ballet from the very beginning, or the very first time I saw it. And I'm from Russia, so I saw it a lot. In Russia, it wasn't in the cards for me for various reasons, but mostly because you show up to class and they physically beat us with sticks. So luckily I didn't stick around for that. And then I'm an immigrant. So when I was 11, I moved to America. So it was just like I had a very disjointed childhood, where in my childhood, I didn't have opportunities to pursue certain things that I really wished I could have pursued, which included dance. And then we got to America, we were so poor. It wasn't even a question of like pursuing a recreational activity. And whatever was free at school, of course, go ahead. But I mean, pursuing something like ballet, which takes you to a separate environment, it just wasn't even considered. wasn't. But I yearned for it. It's something that I've always wanted to do. And at 22 years old, I showed up to a ballet class. And then I kept showing up, and then I asked to be part of the kids class. There was an adult class. I was also part of the kids class. Um, I wanted to do it. So I wanted to pursue what I want to pursue. And a lot of people have said, well, you're too old for ballet. What are you doing? Like ballet is something, when I say ballet, right, something that comes to mind is probably young, thin, pink. What are the imagery is that kind of pop up? And that's just not true, right? So ballet is a whole movement system that allows you to express yourself. It gives you the skills to express yourself within a structure to beautiful music. And it's about how you feel and how you enjoy yourself and how you express yourself. So in addition to building up my physical attributes, my muscle strength, my flexibility, my mobility, it also taught me how to express myself. It also connected me to my spiritual self. It connected me to music. It connected me intellectually to understanding certain movements. It's what allowed me to understand biomechanics of my body through various very difficult positions. So it gave me so much aside from pursuing becoming more slim or like pursuing just physical attributes on their own. Learning that skill is what allowed me to kind of grow as a person and continue to grow as a person. And it's still something that's available to me. So I started at 22. I had various breaks in my life for various reasons. I'm now 38 and I had a baby and I'm still pursuing ballet. I'm lucky enough to have access to it again in my life. And I'm finding that I'm still able to improve my skills. I'm still able to continue to grow my skills, even though I'm much older. And it's something that theoretically we are not accustomed to thinking about adults of that age being better in ballet than they were before. So it's kind of like an amazing journey because I'm allowing myself the opportunity to continue to improve when everyone's sort of assumed that it's not possible to improve. So it's breaking through some barriers in my own mind and maybe society's mind of what skill acquisition for adults means. Similarly, something that I've always always wanted to do, always wanted to do and never had a chance was combat sports. So my grandpa wanted to sign me up for judo when I was a kid. Didn't work out. Again, we moved to America. And then wasn't an option when I was younger. And then I'm like, okay, this is something I've always wanted to do. It's something I've always believed, like I want to develop myself in terms of combat sports, in terms of grappling and just getting better at fighting, to build my own confidence and to just figure out what it's all about. I love watching the fighting in movies. So it's kind of like Rocky is like my favorite movie, or Kickboxer is actually my favorite movie, not the point, but love those movies. Like I watch them all the time. And then it's like, you kind of want to be part of that. You want to participate in that environment. You want to learn what it's all about. And it's not closed off to you because you are a certain age or you're even a certain gender, right? Like not a ton of women in combat sports, but that's growing. That is growing rapidly, thankfully now. So jiu-jitsu and grappling and wrestling is something I really wanted to pursue. And at 30, I showed up to the gym and kept going. It was something that I really wanted to figure out and experience. And again, talk about growing in terms of your emotional, spiritual, and intellectual self when it comes to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Yes, it's extremely physical, but at the same time, you have to overcome so much, you have to learn so much, and you have to overcome yourself so many of your own emotions for you to be able to progress. So in terms of whole self-development, again, it really doesn't matter what type of skill-based activity you pursue. It matters that you are interested in it. And it matters that you are approaching it like a skill rather than pure fitness, because that's what will allow you to be engaged in learning and improving your technique. It will allow you to become more aware of your body and how it integrates together for you to then get better at the thing you're pursuing, to get better at the technique. And it's that iterative process that you're seeing. Okay, I tweak this this got better, I tweaked this. You have a feedback mechanism. When you're learning skill-based movements, you have a feedback loop because you know if that skill worked or not. You have a goal, and those goals are long-term and short-term. So in the short term, you still have a skill-based goal, and you can really be engaged throughout the journey then. Because if you have a long-term goal of losing 50 pounds, of gaining 20-inch biceps, of whatever, right? Like if they are purely measurable physical attributes, you're going to have a hard time staying on the wagon because you're not seeing improvements daily. You're not going to see a change if you keep going to the gym, you keep doing the exercises. If you don't approach those exercises as skill-based movements, if you're looking them as purely as a means to an end, you will likely fall off the wagon if you don't get injured first. It's something I see all the time, and it's something that's really hard for you to stay engaged when the goal is so far out and so intangible, and you don't have any way to measure your progress along the way. This is why approaching even strength training routines, any sort of movement that you're pursuing as a skill will allow you to keep looking for improvements within that 10-minute period. You're going to see, okay, tweak this got better. Or I tried this, my back doesn't hurt today. Like there's so many different ways you can rewire your approach if you focus on skill acquisition. So again, it doesn't have to be ballet, it doesn't have to be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I bring those up because those were something I was passionate about from the start, and I could not access them as a kid. I did not have a chance to pursue them as a kid, but I believe that as an adult, I can still try and I can still do, and I am doing, and I am acquiring skills, and it's continuing to help me improve. That's the ticket. Because just because I turned 18 doesn't mean my physical health has to go down the drain. I want to be doing ballet into my 80s or beyond. I don't know how long I'm going to live, but as long as I live, I would like to be showing up to ballet class, etc. I would like to be grappling too. We'll see. But I'm not writing those off, right? Because I'm older. This is the key, because within, even if my physical attributes start to go down within those sports and dance, etc., I will still be able to acquire skills, and I will still be able to keep growing within my own capacity. So that's the magic that skill-based movements, or you approaching all of your movements as skill-based movements, will give you. This will change how you show up, because if you show up to the gym and just punch the clock and kind of do the thing and leave, you may or may not get the most benefit out of it. You may not see how this supports your overarching goal. It's also like faith-based, like you have to just believe, but you're not seeing progress day to day. Whereas if you approach the same exact workout and change nothing but approach the same workout and see how it feels, become more aware, and you're more engaged. Instead of listening to music, you might be more engaged on what you're doing and how your muscles feel and how your joints are interacting with each other. You might learn something, and then you might want to tweak it, and then it sort of improves. Oh, my back hurts less, etc. Like you have so much just within a movement. But then if you go out and you pursue something you've always wanted to try as a kid, you always wanted to play basketball but never got a chance. You have it. You can do it now. You can do it now, and it's actually going to then, all of my workouts are now going to be focused on me getting better at basketball. And so it's kind of like an exciting opportunity to then see, okay, I did a deadlift. I'm feeling a little bit stronger on the court. I'm getting stronger. My skills in basketball are improving, but also my workouts are supporting my skill. I'm talking about basketball as something I've never tried and don't know much about, but kind of to frame the fact that whatever it is that you're interested in, there's a way to pursue it. There is a path to pursue it, first of all. Even if you're not planning to be a professional, there's luckily now a path for adults to pursue whatever we want to pursue. Unlike when we were kids and told, like, this is for kids only, right? Especially like something like ballet is always kind of like for young people. And so adult classes are now more prevalent, but also still rare. But there's a ton of adults who want to do it. Same for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is really great for adults. It's almost like more of an adult sport. A lot of people discover it in their adult life. So it's just, those are two great examples. But the point is, whatever it is that you've always wanted to pursue is still an option. And then framing it as a skill-based pursuit will allow you to then engage your beginner mindset, see improvements day to day, notice, become engaged, become aware of how you're changing day to day. And then the best path forward is to show up like a professional, still be disciplined, because that's what acquiring skill means, is discipline, right? So consistency, discipline, acting like you are going to be a professional, I think is the other key to it. So having a beginner mindset, but acting like a professional is the path to acquiring these skills, to keep improving, to keep in the game, to keep getting better. You have to show up like a beginner, notice little changes, keep iterating, and then act like a professional, meaning show up consistently and be disciplined about what you're pursuing and expect results out of yourself. Those results, again, you can find improvements in every single thing you do. If you're focusing on developing of skill and technique, you're going to find improvements. And so it's now expect the result. Expect results out of yourself. Expect yourself to get better at the thing. Expect yourself to learn the skill. Expect things from yourself, because you now have a goal to acquire the skill. And with a beginner mindset and acting like a professional, that's the path forward, and you will do it. And then it'll be fun. And then you'll keep having fun until you're 80, 90, 100.